why didn't they vary from their kicking strategy and try and run their way out? Because very often, once or twice, maybe they could have set up a better kicking exit strategy, but for the most part, they were very kickable punts downfield that they just didn't execute right. It was more the execution than the tactics. So, and it felt at the time like it was always the right thing to do. They just didn't execute it. And then the other big one, of course, is there's been a lot of debate about whether Ross Byrne should have taken a shot at goal with whatever 7 or 8 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes left after the Dante yellow card. Again, I think this has been wise after the event. You got to trust your goal kicker. I mean, it's not just a question of putting the ball in the tee. He knows the Aviva Stadium as well as any other ground in the world. He knows how the wind operates. He threw the grass in the air. I think if Ross Byrne thought that was a very kickable penalty, he would definitely have got it. And then if he'd come up short and Leinster never got the ball back, he would have been told he shouldn't have gone for glory. He should have gone for the line.
My sense in the stadium is that the wind was not helping him.
No, it definitely wasn't.
And it was at his limit on a calm day, and it was more of a wind than you might think. And my instinct when it was given was he just wouldn't make that. However, when it comes to the drop goal situation, he was never available for a drop goal. He was I was watching him during that exchange. He didn't make himself available in the pocket as an option, even if it's not the designated plan. But should the you-know-what hit the fan, I'm a good plan B and I'm ready, and give it to me, because we're only 20 metres from the goal. That for me, I can't see the explanation, unless there's a theory I'm missing there, Matt, as well. But for me, that's one that will haunt them, no?
Yeah, I agree with you totally, Joe. There's a video, a little clip going around. Brady Igo, who we all know worked for Leinster in Scotland, a great analyst of the game, has got a clip going around of the Gerry Ringrose situation with the overlap, and also 3 rucks, there might be 2 rucks, where it is absolutely on the black dot, under 20 metres out, and there's no one in the pocket to take the drop. And there should have been, and they should have looked at that, and it should have been done. Especially when you think what Munster did, the week before. It was on. It was definitely on. And even at the time when we're doing Leicester doing all the pick and goes, just before Michael Alatoa gets carded, they have 4-man overlap. They just pass. Don't pick and go, just pass. We can, you'll score the try. There was those last few minutes will haunt them. Ross Byrne shouldn't have taken the shot at goal. It was the right decision. I agree with you, throwing the grass up in the air. But we've also got to remember the design of the stadium. He's kicking to that end where it's low.
Yeah.
So the wind is coming in. If that's another stadium in the world where all the walls are the same height, like Stade de France or Twickenham, he takes that shot because it's protected. But the wind coming over the top from that distance would have been a difficulty. And then I thought Leicester were really brave in what they did in the next few minutes. But, gee, we're sitting here picking them apart. Those poor guys, like that result, that game, that's going to live with them for the rest of their lives. That's as tough as I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
It's tougher than last year because they deserve to win. They shouldn't say they deserve to win. It was La Rochelle and Magnificent. I didn't mean that. I meant they've done enough where you think they've got a great opportunity to win this.
And they've been the best side in the competition throughout the pool stages and all the way up to the knockout stages, even up to the semi-finals and or final for 2 seasons in a row. And they've given us some great rugby along the way, but like you say, they don't face challenges like La Rochelle gave them. And they don't even get them in the URC because they never played the South African sides when they're fully loaded. And when they go down to South Africa, they usually send the C team.
Do we have to re-examine this business now of them being the best competition? Or is it just a case that actually they can beat the lesser lights with the most flourish and the most razzmatazz, but La Rochelle are watching from afar saying, I mean, that's not worth much. When it comes down to brass tacks, you can do it with style and you can play brilliant rugby when you're having it your way. But that mightn't necessarily mean you're the best team in the competition, that you might be the most eye-catching.
Yep. Well, they're certainly by some distance the second best team of the competition for 2 years in a row.
I hear you. I'm being a touch critical there and snipey, but I think we have to examine this Leinster era now in that manner. This is not good.
No, of course not good. And it's ridiculous to think that they've just been involved in the URC game of the season and the Champions Cup game of the season, and maybe the greatest final of all time on consecutive weekends, and they've lost by the combined total of 3 points, and their season is a failure. It's like, but that's sport, I suppose. At the elite end, that's sport, and they've come up short, and they've been overpowered, particularly by La Rochelle. And in the Saracens games, they were a little bit overpowered, and particularly in the quarter-final at the Aviva Stadium behind closed doors. Their scrum had major issues that day as well, and they're going to need to have a good hard look at themselves. There's no doubt about it.
Beaten by a point, but let's flip that and say 17-point head start at home in front of your fans. Beaten by 18.
You're never going to have a scenario anything remotely like that ever again. That's for sure. And they've come up short, and they need to have a good hard look at themselves and where they went wrong at the weekend, where they've gone wrong generally. You think back to the 4 Heineken Cups they won, and they were with Nathan Hines, Brad Thorne and Scott Fardy.
Rocky Elsom in there
as well. Like multi-capped international frontline quality test players. They're going to have definitely, I think that's a little bit of that's a missing part, Matt. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do. I'd spin both of you back a little bit, just to put this in perspective. Where are the Welsh, Scottish, Italian and other Irish teams? There may never, ever in the history of the tournament be teams from those countries that win this tournament again, because it's so stacked in favour of the French and English clubs, right? Because they have to have predominantly locally produced talent. Leinster doing what they're doing are amazing, and we should recognise that. We should recognise that. Where are the rest of the Irish and Welsh and Scottish? They're not doing. Look what happened to Glasgow against Toulon. Toulon are struggling to make the top 6 in the top 14. And let's look at it. La Rochelle are going to go really close to the double. I actually think they will. Because the way the draw is last year it didn't favour the double. This year it does. They can rest their boys this week. They can lose this week, still make it. They get a week off the next week. Everyone sobers up. They get 2 weeks preparation, and they dodge Toulouse till the final. This is a great La Rochelle side. They have South Africans on the wings. They have an Australian in the second row and an outside centre. They have a New Zealander at scrum half and a New Zealand-born player they've developed in at a tight head prop and a Fijian at flanker. They also have other South Africans in that side.
And they've a not insignificant Australian in the second row.
Absolutely. And then they bring in some international French players who aren't local products. They are Frenchmen. And this is a side that is a multi-million-dollar, brilliant resource side, brilliantly coached. And I'm not criticising that. I love watching them. I watch them every weekend. Send Ronan a text and he doesn't reply to me because he's still cranky with me. But I enjoy that. But Leinster are different, and they may never win this tournament. They might keep failing, but it's not apples and apples the way the tournament is structured and the way Irish rugby is structured. Because Irish rugby is structured to serve the national team, and long may it remain so.
Okay, can I ask you something, Matt, though? On that basis, accepting everything you say, and they do a magnificent job with a largely homegrown squad, which nobody else in the URC is doing, and certainly none of the Celtic teams are doing, and even the English teams are falling off the pace as well.
Yeah,
but
100%.
that means that when you are Leinster and you're the number one side in the URC, or certainly in the European section of the URC, when you import, as they've done in the past, they've gone high end.
Yes, I know. I'm agreeing with you, Gerry. I'm not disagreeing with your point about the quality of the past players and what they do. Not at all, mate. I'm supporting that. The question I was going to say, would that result be different if Will Skelton was packing into the Leinster second row?
Well, possibly not. At the same time, we have to acknowledge the fact that the number one ranked international side in the world, basically 12, 13 of those players are in a blue jersey and a Leinster jersey, and they're well rested and they're well looked after. So, we should expect big things of them.
Joe, but I don't think we can say they haven't delivered big things.
Yeah.
That's the dilemma we're in.
I take the point. Do you not class, though, to lose these finals in this manner since 2019 as underachievement?
As soon as the final whistle went, Joe, I knew we were going to have this conversation. I'm trying to think. I do not want to be Defender-in-Chief of Leinster. I don't want that title, although it seems to have fallen to me.
Yeah.
But my heart was breaking for that team because, I, more than others, know, when you lose those games, you're ill. You are physically sick in the stomach. And that pain does not go away for a long time. And after the second one, and I kept saying, can they lift next year? Is this the end of it? That might be that devastating. It might be the end. Now, I hope it's not. But, of course, here's what I'm trying to measure out to you. Leo Cullen's son goes to school and said, my dad coached, won a European Cup and got the 4 other finals. Is someone going to say, gee, your dad's a loser? I'm going to say, no, wow, that's pretty impressive. Now, should they have won some others? Well, they wanted to. They'll be very, very... There's no one more disappointed than those boys. But in the same breath, that doesn't make it a failure. It makes it short of where they should have been. They led 2 finals for all, but I think I saw 11 minutes.
Yeah.
2 finals at 180. And that is so heartbreaking. And how do we then, and I guess what I'm trying to say to you, Joe, how do I put that in a perspective rather than just through the lens of you're a winner, you're a loser, you're a success, you're a failure? Because I think nuance.
Yeah, I didn't, and I specifically didn't use winner, loser, success, failure. I used the word underachievement.
You did, in fairness to you. And
Matt, you in your answer used the phrase short of what they should have done. So if I look up underachievement, that's probably short of what they should have done, no?
Yeah, I would say... Go on.
I was just sorry, Gerry. I wasn't accusing you. I was just trying to put it in perspective.
No, I hear you. And look, I appreciate the nuance. The nuance is important here. They're still... I take no joy in having this conversation.
None of us do.
I really...
It's hard not to feel sorry
admire this team.
Yes.
And I enjoy watching them week in, week out.
Yes.
And yet, I mean, as you said, Jay, we've seen this movie too often now for it to be... in each individual game, we're all very fairly making the argument, bounce of a ball here, very close there. And in each individual instance, I accept that. But then you have to say, well, let's look at the trend.
And there was a clear trend, as I outlined to you, those second half scores.
There you go. That was but a taste of the full rugby conversation. As usual, you can get the full chat wherever you get your podcast. It's waiting for you right now.